Welcome to another Froch On Fighting. This is going to be a weekly thing, so make sure you subscribe. I'm going to try and release one of these videos every Wednesday. Thanks for all the questions you've sent in. Keep them rolling as well. I'm going to do my best to get through the good ones and answer them best I can. So the first one that I'm going to talk about really is the Piers Morgan Conor Benn interview, which I watched yesterday. That's a big subject, and everybody's got their opinion. It's all quite negative to Conor Benn, and I think that's affected him quite badly. And if I'm totally honest, I feel sorry for him because, I mean, he was talking about mental health and suicidal thoughts yesterday, and I think he got a little bit deep, and that's not nice. That's not a good thing. So that just shows how badly this has impacted him and how much it's got in his head, and it's upsetting him and kind of destroying him. It was nice to see Nigel Benn on there with him last night as well from Australia, having a bit of a laugh with him, talking about that thing above his top lip at the end of it, just lightened it a little bit. But I'd like to see Conor Benn back fighting in Britain. And the main thing that came out in the interview with Piers Morgan last night was the issue with the British Boxing Board of Control. He's not licensed. He gave his license up when he failed the drugs test. And he says, I don't want to fight in Britain anymore, I'm not interested. And it's transpired that he's now suing the board. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was trying to sue the British Boxing Board of Control. They're there for the safety of the fighter. He failed 2 drugs tests. They stopped him from fighting Chris Eubank Jr. If they'd have let the fight go ahead, I think they would have been held responsible if somebody was injured. If Chris Eubank Jr. got injured and they knew that Conor Benn failed a drugs test, that would have looked terrible. I mean, I'm just saying the way I think it works. So the British Boxing Board of Control, from that sense, couldn't really win. So this suing, the Conor Benn suing them, I'm not so sure about it. In my opinion, maybe that shouldn't be happening, but we'll leave it to his legal team. In terms of Conor Benn and his career and moving forward with his boxing career, I think he needs to fight in Britain. So he needs that British Boxing Board of Control licence. And I did say last week that I'll reserve judgment and keep my opinion to myself on Conor Benn until he's had the interview with the British Boxing Board of Control. He's got to sit in front of the board, sit in front of Rob Smith and all the boys. Like if Charlie Giles is still there if he's retired, but some of them old boys that have got a passion for boxing, most of them volunteer. They just want the best for the fighters. So Conor Benn needs to show some respect for that governing body, sit in front of them and just take it on the chin. He needs to offer them some explanation. He does have, as Piers Morgan pointed out, a 270-page dossier with an explanation as to why he's failed the drug test or reasons why there could be some kind of... His main thing was contamination. So if that's the case, and that's his argument, sit in front of the board, have it out with them, and then just see what comes back. Listen, boxers before him have been banned from boxing. Canelo Alvarez failed a drug test. I know Dillian White failed a test. Sure, Roy Jones Jr. Boxers, top fighters, have failed drugs tests, took the ban, took it on the chin, and moved on with a career. Obviously, Conor Benn is saying he's innocent, and he's really digging his heels in and saying, I've not cheated, I'm not a drugs cheat, I'm innocent. And he sounds really passionate about it. And if I'm honest, listening to him, I believe him. But he has to sit in front of the board and just be heard. And then they'll make a decision. And I just think that's got to happen for him to move on with his career. So he's got to get on with it. So if he decides not to fight in Britain, he can fight in America or wherever else in the world. But his next opponent is talking about fighting Manny Pacquiao. Now, it's going to be a big fight because it's Manny Pacquiao, legend of the game. But the guy's 44 years old. It's not going to prove anything and I think Conor Benn does beat Manny Pacquiao. I mean, you never know. Pacquiao's brilliant and he still seems to be quite fit even though he's 44. I'm 45. Still got it. You know that anyway. But Conor Benn, Manny Pacquiao, decent fight. Do I want to see it? Yes. I'll watch it. It's something that gets Conor Benn back in the boxing game and it's a big name so it's going to give him a lot of attention. It's going to be difficult though to move on from all the negativity he's going to get because of the drug test. It'd be nice to see him back in the ring and get his career kick-started and get it moving again. But it's just back to, I think he should be in Britain under a British Boxing Board of Control licence. And that's always going to be a taint and a stain on his career moving forward. I think he needs to put that to bed really and get that moving forward before he even fights again. That's my opinion. But if the Manny Pacquiao fight happens, I'll be tuning in. I'll be wishing him all the best. And I think it's a decent fight, yeah. I keep getting asked questions about Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, and why that fight's not happened and why it's not been announced. Well, the answer to that is I don't know. But if the fighters want the fight to happen, the fight will happen. I'm sure Fury wants to fight. He's confident he can win. Every time he steps in the ring, he's confident he can beat anybody. And he should be. It's in the size of him. And he's very good, by the way. But Usyk is very dangerous, very technically good. He's a special fighter, but for me, I don't think he's big enough for Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury beats him. Why the fight's not happened yet, why it's not been announced, I don't know. It's going to be, is it the money, is it the promotional divide, is it the venue? Who knows? But if it's going to happen soon, like I think they were saying like 5 or 6 weeks the fight was supposed to be happening, then they need to get it announced and they need to get moving on with it. It's frustrating for boxing fans when these fights don't happen. I was supposed to fight Joe Calzaghe, as we all know, and Calzaghe actually waited till the final day, keeping the belt until he vacated. And then I fought for the vacant title against Jean Pascal, and the rest of my career is history. But Calzaghe then went on to fight Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr., 2 old men. To be fair though, the win against Hopkins was good, because Hopkins went on to achieve some big things after that loss to Calzaghe. But I think the Calzaghe fight should have happened, and it should have happened for the fans, and it didn't, unfortunately. And regardless of what was going on with the promoters, he was promoted by Frank Warren at the time. I was promoted by another promoter, and regardless of the promotional divide, I think if the fighters want the fight to happen, the fight will happen. So I'm totally blaming Joe Calzaghe on that, because I think he knows he would have got cobra'd. Sorry about that. I was supposed to talk about Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk. I went on a bit of a tangent with Joe Calzaghe. Let me just touch back on Calzaghe. If I boxed Joe Calzaghe back then, this is how it would have gone. 2 possible outcomes. Joe Calzaghe would have either beaten me on points, because he's very fit, he's very strong, he's a very good fighter, or I'd have chinned him. I'd have knocked him El Sparker. I'd have backed myself to knock him out. Robin Reed hurt him, Robin Reed put him down. He lost a split decision. Never got that rematch, by the way. He rematched Mario V. But this ain't a beat Joe Calzaghe up session. This is just me telling you the facts. He would have probably beaten me on points, or he'd have lost by knockout or by stoppage. That's what I think would have happened. But anyway, that's me backing myself, because I believe in myself. But Fury, Usyk, that fight should happen. It needs to happen. It's a unification fight. Usyk took all the belts off Anthony Joshua. He beat him twice. And Tyson Fury, for me, is the best heavyweight in the world at the moment. He's almost unbeatable. You've got Deontay Wilder and Usyk and Fury in the top 3. But Fury, I just think, levels above him. It's such a shame if that fight don't happen. So hopefully that fight happens next. Obviously, AJ's rebuilding now. He's fighting Franklin. Hopefully he can get himself back in the mix. But what can I say? Fury, Usyk, come on. Get your heads together and get this fight made. So that's it for today. Keep sending in your questions. We're going to go through them meticulously, and I'll answer the ones that, for me, sit at the top of the stack. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like I said, get your questions in, and I'll see you next week.